Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Saved and Manifesting. I am TavonaStarO. Welcome to another video. Saved and Manifesting because I am a God girl. I say this every video, but if this is your first time seeing me on YouTube and seeing a video by me, I'm saved. And if you come from church, you know that that means that you have accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. So that's me. I grew up in church, been in church my whole life. So yeah, I'm a God girl, but I'm also a God girl who believes that manifestation is a part of everything because of God and not absent of God. So I just want to make that clear. I make this disclaimer, like I said, every video, and it's probably not going to change. Maybe one day, but right now, this is just what it is. Do you like this? The background is cutting off my earring, but I'm also a makeup girly. I love makeup, I love fashion, I love nails, anything girly. I love, love, love. And today I did an inspo versus result um video for TikTok. So if you are not following me on TikTok, you can follow me at TavonaStarO on TikTok. And also that's pretty much my name everywhere. Facebook, IG, here on YouTube, if you want to, well, here on YouTube is Saved and Manifesting, but if you want to find me anywhere outside of YouTube, that's my name, Tabana Star, because I'm a star. Last name initial O. So, um, yeah, this is what it is. I will show you the inspo, but it might come up kind of weird. But anyway, you can go on TikTok, you can go on IG to see the inspo versus the final result. Okay, I think I did that. All right, because I was supposed to do that. And we don't try over here, we only do. All right. So anyway, let's get into the video. This week, I'm going to talk about, can y'all hear that? I hope not. It stopped. Great. I can edit that out, which would be cool because I love like editing bloopers. Anyway, so this week we're gonna get into mistakes that I've made while manifesting. Okay, I'm really excited about this. I am. I'm really excited because yeah, I want you to learn from like my mistakes. I want you to learn from yeah, stuff that I didn't even know. But I'm gonna get you right today. Okay, you ready? You see my edges? Lay. So anyway, all right. So let me just start with this. I have been like manifesting my whole life. I just didn't know, right? And if you are familiar with, you know, wow. Mm, I'm gonna let them finish. Maybe I'm easily distracted. That is absurd. Thank you. I mean, can a girl do a video or no? Anyway, God. Okay. So I have been manifesting my whole life. I just did not know that I was manifesting. Like I said, I have a church background. Okay. And so, in church, you pray, right? You talk to God. And so I grew up in church. At some point, I started going to church on my own, but my mom has always had me in church. Okay. And so I've always just, I don't know. I really don't know. I think I had this belief that I could ask God for anything and that I would just get it. Okay. Now, if you are a follower of Neville Goddard, right? Anybody, right? As far as law of assumption, right? Because law of attraction and law of assumption are not the same. Okay. As far as the law of assumption, right? They will tell you, excuse me, that there is no power outside of you. So me talking about God is like a no-no. But also, because it's the law of assumption, you really make your own rules. And so, as far as I'm concerned, God ain't going nowhere, okay? Because he's outside of me, but he's also inside of me. Okay. But I also was raised, you know, in church, right? And I don't believe in God because I was raised in church. I believe in God because of my own experiences with God. But that's a whole other, that don't have nothing to do with nothing. Anyway, so But that being said, I just always kind of like, I could just remember, I think some of my earliest memories as far as like manifesting, I think, hmm, I remember being in school, in elementary school, and I went to a private school. So we were taking like the SATs. And so I can remember, y'all, I don't even know why I was doing this. I was a child, okay? I can remember praying to God for help, like to help me pass the SATs. And I would like, I would fast. Y'all, imagine me being a small girl. I would spend like my lunchtime praying to God for help to like pass the SATs. I would skip lunch praying to God to help me to pass the SAT. And then when I got to high school, I just have this one memory of like wanting this of course I passed. I mean, I graduated elementary school. So yeah, I passed the SATs. But the SATs should just be so scary. But anyway, when I was in high school, I wanted I wanted a the Razor phone, the magenta Razor. This is when it first came out. So I know I'm telling my age. It's okay. Um, I wanted that phone so bad. And I remember going to God like, God, I want that phone. And I went through a process of like imagining that I had the phone, and just really saying like, that's my phone, that's my phone. Like I just kind of followed these principles of just like seeing something and being like, that's mine. I want that, that's mine. And just kind of assuming or acting like it was mine before it was actually mine. So this was like a little girl, like I said, high school, elementary school. Like I've always done this. And now having I did it with like a car I wanted. I always wanted a Volkswagen Beetle. Even my dolls, my Brett dolls, they had a lime green Volkswagen Beetle. Like I've always loved that car. Lime green because my birthday is in August. The birthstone color is paradise. It's like a lime green, like a light green, always. When I got older, I only wanted two cars. I only wanted a Range Rover and that Volkswagen Beetle. I ended up getting that Volkswagen Beetle. I got the car. It never left me. Like I ended up getting the car that I wanted in like a week of like getting my driver's license. It was crazy. But with the car, I remember like painting out the car. I remember saving like photos in my phone. And just saying like every time I saw that car, I would just be like, that's my car. Like I'm gonna drive that car. And I end up driving that car, baby, with more than I could even ask for. Like it came with a sunroof. I didn't even ask for that. It had like lights in the car. It was nice. Bluetooth, everything. It was so cool. It was nice. I put $600 down on that car and drove out the lot. It was crazy. Even that, like, I remember specifically saying, manifesting the car. I remember specifically, like, I would pray and be like, they're going to give the car away. They're going to give the car away. They're going to give the car away. The money I have is going to be more than enough. They're going to give the car away. And I tell you, they didn't even know the car was on the lot when I got there. They were like, oh, we have this car. We passed. I took the salesman out to where the car was and showed him where it was. I was like, yeah, this is my car. I drove off. We didn't even have enough money to get to. I remember we drove all the way out to the suburbs in Illinois with like a jar full of pennies and like quarters and stuff because I ain't had no money outside of like the money I was gonna use to get that car. You oh gee, when I tell you I drove off the lot, like they gave the car away. It was crazy. But I did not see that as like I never said like, oh, I'm manifesting this car. I just knew like that was my car. This is how they're going to give it to me, and this is what's going to happen. Like I'm driving off the lot with that car. I being raised in church and then being like I was trained to be a leader in church for years, um, training in like prayer. One of the things you need for prayer is discipline. And we were trained to pray for like an hour. Like it wasn't no praying for 30 minutes. Corporate prayer alone was from like 7:30 to like 9, like 9:30. Okay, so we had to like we were trained to get up, walk around. You had to do whatever you had to do to engage in that prayer time. Okay. And a lot of, and then also in prayer, you're taught about like praying in your understanding, which is English, right? Whatever language you speak, whatever language you understand, but also like the language of the spirit, which is tongues, or what I'm seeing the new age calling now language of light. I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna get into that. It is tongues. Okay, it's a heavenly language. All right. So we were taught to pray in the spirit because according to the Bible, it builds you up, all that stuff. It builds up your faith. But when you're praying in tongues, you don't understand what you're saying. From the outside in, we crazy charismatics speaking in gibberish, but it is a language. And while you're praying in the spirit, you don't understand what you're saying, but God is supposed to understand what you're saying. It's like a language of the spirit. Your spirit man knows what you're saying. And so I would spend countless, like there were times where, in my prayer time, like I said, an hour is nothing. An hour in prayer is that's not a long time. And I would just walk my floors. I would walk the floors and I would just pray. I would pray for certain people, certain things. And then I would pray in tongues. I could pray in tongues for a whole hour. I actually prefer to pray in tongues and not always English all the time. But that's just me. I can pray in tongues over and over again. And that's just like an all day thing, right? And so that same like discipline, those same like principles and things like that is what makes like manifesting and affirming like easier for me. But I just didn't know that all of these years of me like saying, oh, I'm gonna do something and it actually happening, or I'm gonna have something and it actually happening was like manifesting. Um, yeah. I don't even like the church I came up in, they never really talked about manifestation. Most churches don't, right? Because they think manifestation is demonic. But we never even heard like I didn't even really hear a lot about like manifestation being demonic. I just didn't. I it never came up. Like we just it never was a thing. Um, but it was just kind of one of those things, I guess, in conversation, but not really a whole lot. But anyway, I know that I had been doing it, right. It wasn't until like last year, around this time last year, that something happened, and oh, excuse me. The problem is dairy. Like I have not had like none of these problems until I started eating ice cream and stuff easily. I can actually manifest that dairy don't bother me. But right now, I know where all this is coming from. Like nasal drip. I have not had this issue. Anyway, so excuse that. That's really nice. Here's the thing. It wasn't until last year around this time something happened, and I kind of went on this like I went down this rabbit hole of like, oh my God, you know, what am I gonna do? Right. And so um I found myself watching a bunch of like relationship videos and things like that, really like in an attempt to like work on myself and figure out like why I have some of the relationship patterns I have and things like that. And it led to manifesting in the law of assumption. Now, mind you, prior to this, I had read this when I lived in New York. I was living in a small room, just really bad like circumstances. And that led me to reading The Secret. Okay. And so The Secret is mainly about like, that's more of like the law of attraction type stuff. But what it did was, okay, I'm not a law of attraction girl. What it did, because I was suffering a lot from like really negative, pessimistic thoughts. Like I have this in another video where I'm talking about the things that manifested in my life in 2023. One of those things was not wanting to live, like very like depressed, negative thoughts. And what the secret helped me to do was really realize that I can control what goes on in my head. And the more I control what goes on in my head, it will have an effect on my circumstances or my environment. Like I'll start to see my circumstances change. If I first start by governing my thoughts and my emotions and not letting my circumstances like dictate how I feel and what I'm going to think. Okay. I hope I said that right. And I know that it makes sense. So that's where that started. So from there, I started just deciding what I want. And I started to say that I already had it. So I wanted a new job position. I wanted my own place and I wanted to be in a relationship. I wanted to not be single. I wanted to be in a relationship. So I started telling myself, I just got up one day and was like, I started saying thank you for my new job position. Thank you for, my new place. And thank you that I am no longer single. I am in a relationship. Everything happened before the end of that year. Like by August. By like, I'm not even gonna say by August, by like April, I had already got a new job position. By April, I was dating, and then I had moved into my place before my birthday, August. Like everything happened. And so, yeah. So after all of that, I something devastating happened and it led me to the law of assumption. Okay. So bam. Okay. So within the law of assumption, there are, a lot of talk about, there is, right? A lot of talk about, Neville Goddard. And there are a lot of like coaches, a lot of people talking about manifestation because people have been doing this for a while. Like I said, I've been doing it, but it wasn't until I learned about the law of assumption and how whatever you assume to be true is just going to reflect in your life. Whatever your dominant assumptions are, is what you're going to experience. Learning about all of that um, just kind of gave language to what I have been doing naturally. Okay. That's a good thing, but it can also be like not so good, which is leading me to my first point. The first mistake I made was like listening to a bunch of like content about like the law of assumption and like manifesting an SP, manifesting money. Like there is so much information out there because, excuse me, everybody's doing it, right? But everybody has like their own like everybody has what works for them. They have their own techniques. Everybody has their own interpretation and everybody makes their own rules. Okay. Which is the great thing about the law of assumption is you get to make your own rules. And so one of the things I did when I first started doing this on purpose was I will watch a bunch of content and be like, oh, they manifested their SP doing X, Y, and Z, so I need to do that. They manifested money doing this, so I need to do that. And I started, what it did was it created like this overload, like this overstimulation of like ways to do everything because I was just desperate for what I wanted. Okay. That's the first mistake. You don't want to overconsume a bunch of content from everybody because you make up your own rules and then what works for someone else may not work for you. Okay. So that's the first mistake. Don't overconsume content. Okay. Don't listen to everybody just because they're talking about the law of assumption. If a person is saying something, their delivery ain't right, like if it just don't sit right with you, then don't even don't feel like you have to buy a course. I mean, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but find a coach, find the YouTuber, find the TikToker who is speaking on like your level, who is like saying whatever they're saying in a way that resonates with you, that feels natural to you, that feels good to you, that is helpful, that's practical, that's like easy. A lot of these coaches talk in ways that you just don't naturally talk. They use a lot of language that's like a lot of the law of assumption. People use a lot of language from law of attraction. Like you just have to find the person, find the voice, follow the voice that speaks more naturally to you or resonates with you more. But don't listen to like 5 different coaches because you're just going to run yourself crazy trying to manifest. Okay. So don't do that. The second thing is, the second mistake I made was trying every technique. Okay. So again, when you're learning, you're gonna come into state akin to sleep, visualization. Everybody's talking about revision, everybody's talking about scripting, everybody's talking about journaling, people talking about singing your affirmations, people talking about sleep tapes, people talking about hypnosis, people talking about meditation. Like there's just so many techniques that everybody's using to get themselves in a state of believing that they already have what it is that they want to manifest. And if you listen to everybody, you're just going to be like, oh, that worked. Well, let me do that. Oh, that worked. Well, let me do that. And you'll find yourself doing stuff that either you just that's hard. It's just going to create more resistance, and you don't want resistance. For you, resistance don't even have to be a thing, right? You can make your own rules, but it'll just make it more complicated for you. And manifestation shouldn't be complicated. You just decide what you want, say that you already have it, and it happens. It don't even take long. It didn't take long for me to get my new position. It didn't take long to get placed. It didn't take long to end up dating. Like it did not take long. Like it doesn't take long. But you don't want to get caught up in everything that everybody else is doing, thinking that you're going to get the same results that they got just because it worked for them. What you do want to do is do the thing that is most natural for you. So in the beginning, I started saying that like I was trained in prayer. I could walk around for hours praying in tongues, not knowing what I'm saying, right? That's useful because and because of that, affirming is the most natural thing I can do. That's the most natural thing I can do. It's natural. When I decided that I wanted a new place, no, when I decided that I wanted a new position within my job, I would just wake up in the morning and be like, thank you that I work remote before the winter time. Thank you for my new work from home position before the winter. I got my new remote position before it snowed in New York, and it didn't even snow. Can you believe that? New York didn't even really have a winter that year. Like it wasn't even bad. But exact what I said was gonna happen, like actually happened. When I decided that I wanted to move from Chicago to New York in the summer months, I didn't even know that I was moving to New York. I just decided that I wanted to move. I got up out of bed one day and was like, I'm moving. I had outgrown this space. It's time to move. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where the money was coming from. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I got up and I was like, I'm moving. I am moving in the summer months. I'm moving from this place to a new place in the summer. I moved to a whole nother state in the summer. I was up in I was in Rochester, New York, celebrating my 29th birthday. 29? Was I 29? I went 29 because I celebrated my 30th birthday in New Orleans. So I had to be like 30 going on 31 or so. I don't remember. But anyway, I ended up celebrating my birthday in Rochester by myself because I had to work. I was upstate at Olive Garden looking all cute. I was just glad to be young for my age, like looking young for my age. But it happened. It happened just the way. And all I did was say over and over again. In that time of prayer that I have, I was just walking around saying, like, I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving in the summer. I'm moving in the summer. And it happened just like that. Because affirming is natural. And then for a time, I was like trying to get into robotic affirming, which I've done before. Like I can look back on like times where I have spent time saying the same thing over and over again. It's robotic affirming. Like robotic affirming is not hard. What made it hard for me was affirming over and over and over again desperate for a result, and then looking at the, well, let's say I was manifesting like contact, right? I would affirm over and over again. I would say these affirmations, and then I would go to my phone and realize I didn't have contact. That's a mistake you don't want to make. That's why robotic affirming was tiring. That's why robotic affirming was like, oh my God, this is exhausting, because I spent so much time walking and affirming, but also doing away with all of those affirmations by telling myself that I did not have what I was affirming for. It's not like an affirming versus affirming to get versus affirming to like remind yourself, because the whole point of doing any of these techniques, the whole point of manifesting is to get what you want. So I don't think there's no such thing as affirming to get, because if you don't want it, why you affirm it? Like, you are doing everything because the point is to get what it is that you want. So I don't subscribe to that whole thing, right? I was literally just affirming and then looking at the 3D, like, where is it? Losing the victory every time. Okay. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to do what I just talked about, but you do want to find the thing that most works for you. Okay. Even though I am a very visual, like I can be a very imaginative person, right? But when I would hear people describing like visualization, they would just be like, oh, you want to sit and you want to like create a scene and you want to loop that scene for like 5 seconds and just keep looping it. And I'm thinking, it's a lot. Like, okay, like it just kind of, and you probably are already visualizing, but when they explain it, it just kind of makes it more technical and it makes it more harder to do because you're thinking like, oh, well, is this 5 seconds? Like, is this the same clip I just played in my head? Like, am I doing it right? And worrying about doing it right or wrong is another thing that's just kind of tripping you up from just doing something that's natural, like you're already doing it anyway. So, and then say they can to sleep, like they make it seem like you just gotta lay there and just like, and then right where you're like leaving your body because you're going into REM, that's when you get in the state of like feeling like you have what it is that you're going to have. And it's just kind of like for me, it just doesn't, it just sounds very like technical. And it makes it very rigid for me. And so state akin to sleep is just not my thing. But state akin to sleep may be your thing. Sitting up, meditating may be your thing. Like, but whatever it is you want to do, what works for you. One time I felt like I should like I felt like I should just write my affirmation over and over again. Like I heard an affirmation, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just write this. And I just felt like doing it that day. I haven't done it since. Like I don't need to, I just don't feel like I don't feel like I want to do that. So now I just affirm. So you want to do what works for you. Another thing, another mistake that I mentioned before was affirming and then looking at the 3D. Okay, the 3D meaning like your physical world. So looking at what's in front of you, outside of you, in front of you. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. So, for example, let's say you are manifesting money, okay? And so you're telling yourself, I have $100. I just got $100 out of nowhere. I just manifested $100. I cannot believe, isn't it wonderful that I manifested $100? Like money just falls out the sky and land in my lap. Like, where I get this $100 from? And so you're affirming that you got $100. And then you go to and you check your Cash App or whatever, your Zelle, whatever, your PayPal, and you don't have $100. You did all that affirming, and you look at your stuff and you like, man, I just spent 15 minutes affirming for $100 and I don't got $100. You don't. That's looking at the 3D. Okay. That's looking at the 3D. That's saying one thing 1 minute and then like completely doing away with what you just said the next minute. You don't want to do that. If the story is you got $100, it don't matter if it comes 7 days from now, right? It don't matter if you wake up in the morning, the next morning, and you see that you got $100 from wherever, right? It doesn't matter because what only matters is what you are affirming. What matters is this new story that you're telling yourself. If right now you ain't got no money and the new story is, oh no, I actually got like 100 extra dollars, then you want to stick with that story of having $100 no matter what you see. When I started, it was, oh, we in contact. And then it's like, dang, it didn't happen today. Maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Right? Like you don't want to be like that. Like you want to be like, no, I do have, no matter what you see, you want to say no. We are in contact. We talk all the time. No, I have the money. I always have money. I never worry about money. If you're manifesting being healed, right? If your body is in pain, you can acknowledge, like, oh man, you can observe how you feel and still affirm, like, oh, I don't live in pain. I live pain free. I don't have any pain in my body. Take it from me. I've been doing that all week with cramps, right? Period cramps. I had one menstrual cycle 3 menstrual cycles ago, and I felt a sharp pain in my stomach, and I'm like, oh my God, what I eat? Then I remember, mm-hmm, right? And then I thought about it, like, oh man, like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna manifest that I don't have period cramps. And I just started saying, like, I don't have cramps. I never have period cramps. I have short, healthy periods. Like I never get sick. I never have period cramps. 3 periods later, I don't have cramps. I was the pill popping girl, but I don't have to take pain pills no more on my period because I don't have cramps. I literally don't have cramps no more. Like it's amazing, right? So you want to just affirm what it is that you want, no matter what you see. And that takes discipline. Okay. If you keep saying, like, oh, I don't know how to not focus on the 3D, or I don't know how to, ignore the 3D, what you want to affirm is that you don't worry about the 3D. Just affirm, like, I never check the 3D. I don't have to check because I know that I have what I want. I never have to check for my manifestation because I already have it. And that's the point. You want to like convince yourself. You just want to tell yourself that you already have whatever it is that you are manifesting. And if you already have it, then you don't have to check for it. If you already are in that relationship with that person, then you don't have to wonder where they are because they're with you. If you already got the job, you wouldn't be like, well, man, I'm unemployed. No, you employed. You got the job. They called you back already. So you don't want to focus on the 3D. Another mistake I made was time. Ooh, now I ain't gonna hold you. Okay. Time? Oh my God. I would hear people being like, time doesn't matter. And I'll be like, how? How don't time matter? Please help me. Help me understand how time doesn't matter. I'll wait. Please. I mean, my God. Everything is about time. You got to be at work at 6 a.m. So you got to get up at this time because it takes this long to take a shower. It takes this long for this. Your lunch break is at this time. You get off at that time. Like everything is just time. And you telling me that I shouldn't worry about time? How did you not worry about time? Time? Baby, when I say in the chokehold, baby, time it and be like, because why is it taking so long? What? Tell me that. Okay, you got all the answers. Why is it taking so long? And it's really taking so long because you're saying that it's taking so long. Y'all, when I say this past like 2 weeks, maybe two or 3 weeks, I have had to affirm that I manifest instantly. And what's crazy, and it ain't crazy because it's normal. This is just how it works. I have been manifesting instantly. Like it don't take a whole lot. Like I said, it don't take a long time. And there are things that I manifested before that did not take a long time, but I also was not worried about time. I don't know why I wasn't. But this one particular thing has had me looking at the calendar like, okay, it's been this many days. Okay, so, you know. And how do I not worry about time? You don't worry about time by telling yourself that you don't worry about time. You can literally affirm, like, I never worry about time because I manifest instantly. I don't have to worry about the time because I manifest instantly. The moment I affirm for what I want, I get it. Manifestation is instant. It's not a process. It doesn't take long. It don't take long to manifest money. It don't take long to manifest a relationship. It don't take money to manifest a car. It don't take long to manifest opportunities. It don't take long to manifest nothing because you get what you want like that. I get what I want to manifest like this. You just decide what is instant to you. And then, whatever the thing is you wanting to manifest, just decide how long you want it to take. When I wanted to move, I was like, I'm moving. And I'm moving in the summer. I think that was around like April and May. April and May are like some very critical months in my life for some reason. I don't know what that's about. But around April, March, April, May, around the spring, I decided that, yeah, I'm moving and I'm gonna move in the summer. And I end up moving in the summer, which proves that you can manifest on a time crunch, but you also get to decide like how long something takes for you. Okay. If you assume that it's going to take a long time, then for you, it's going to take a long time. Another problem that I was having was like, well, how do I not assume that just because it didn't happen today, that it also like that it could happen tomorrow? I hear Gaia saying like a lot of you think that just because you didn't what you just because you didn't get what you want today, you just automatically you assume in the future that you're not going to get what you want. And I was just like, yeah, that's me. How do I not assume that because it didn't happen yesterday that it could happen today? And I just found out that the only solution is to just affirm that you manifest instantly and that you have what you want right now. That's the best way to not worry about time and to not assume that because you didn't get what you want yesterday, that you won't get it today. Or because you're supposed to already have it. Yesterday, today, if you already have it, then that's why time don't matter because it's already here now. That's the reason why. Okay. So you don't want to worry about time. And another mistake I made was doing things in the 3D. Okay. You don't have to manipulate the 3D because what's going to happen is the circumstances, which is a reason why circumstances don't matter. Everything is just going to naturally align itself to prove to manifest your belief or your affirmation or your desire, whatever you want. So, for example, when I moved into my place, um, my sister moved shortly after me. Okay, and my mom moved around the time I moved to New York. My mom moved to the South shortly after that. Okay. So from her move, she left some of her things at my sister's house. My sister moved and she had to get rid of some of my mom's stuff. So my mom called me and she's like, hey, can your sister bring some of my things to your place? I should be able to come get it in like a couple of weeks, right? So I say, yeah, a couple of weeks went past and her stuff was still here. Okay. And it bothered me because looking at her things in my place didn't go with like the aesthetic I was building. So I'm like, that looks kind of tacky. I don't want this stuff here. And so I would call her and be like, hey, so what happened to you coming to get your stuff? And it turns out like the way that she was gonna come here to get her things end up falling apart. And I reacted. If you do react, you don't want to react to the 3D, but if you do, give yourself grace. Okay, you're a human being. She would tell me all the things that went wrong why she couldn't come get her stuff. And I was like, I was blue. Okay. There I would be mad blue. But it wasn't her fault. My mom couldn't help it or whatever. So what I stopped doing was getting blue. And I just started saying, like, you know what? Isn't it wonderful my mom was able to come and get her things? Isn't it wonderful that my mom came and got her stuff? Isn't it wonderful that my mom was able to come and get her things? Do you know that like a couple of weeks after My mom called me and told me that my auntie passed. One of my great aunties passed. And of course, all of the family in the South were going to come up here for my auntie's funeral. And so that was the way my mom was able to come and get her things. Now, that's unfortunate, right? That's an unfortunate circumstance. But what happened? Now, did I manifest my auntie passing? No, I didn't. Okay. God works in mysterious ways. I had nothing to do with that. Okay. All I knew was I wanted my mom to come get her stuff. And that was a way for my mom to come and get her things. She just happened to be in the same place at the same time. And she took her stuff back with her. It happened. And the circumstances aligned. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to pay for storage. I didn't have to get a moving truck. Like I didn't do anything. You don't have to manipulate the 3D in any way. Okay. When I was manifesting getting on the Andy Cohen show, I got sick and I missed like the initial filming. I didn't hear from my connect. And so I started affirming like, oh, I'm always on the Andy Cohen show, right? Even though it seemed like they had forgot or whatever. I was just walking around saying, I'm always on TV. I'm always on, I've been on TV a few times, my ad. But I just started saying, like, I'm always on the Andy Cohen show. They love me. Of course they want me on the show. Now, from affirming, I was just like, you know what, let me just send an email and be like, hey, just follow up, right? And then I'm done. That follow-up led to me being on the show. So I said that to say, like, there are times where you take action, and then there are other times where you don't have to manipulate the 3D in any way. Okay. But again, this is a law of assumption. You can make your own rules. Okay. But you don't always have to do stuff to get what it is that you want. Like I promise you, the more you affirm, the more everything is just going to line up so you can have what it is that you want. Okay. So just remember that. So, what is another mistake I made? Because another mistake I made was like, not realizing that I can literally make my own rules. And I would hear that, but I didn't know what that meant until I learned, like, oh, you think that you have to have this perfect self concept to manifest? Just tell yourself, I got the perfect self concept. Like, whatever the area is about money or whatever, like, you don't think you're worthy, you don't think you're worthy of love. You don't think you're worthy of manifesting the SP. You don't think you're worthy of opportunities. You don't think you're worthy of like thousands of Instagram followers, or you have a fear of success or whatever. You can literally just affirm the opposite of whatever it is that you think is holding you back from manifesting. You can affirm that nothing is holding you back from manifesting. You can affirm that you don't have any fears. You can affirm that you don't have any triggers. You can affirm that you don't have doubts. I don't have doubts about anything I'm manifesting because I always get what I want. What is there to doubt? There's nothing to doubt. It's already mine. Like you literally can make your own rules with this stuff. And like I said, when I was trying to do this stuff on purpose, I was lost in the sauce because I just wanted what I wanted. um, but I think now I'm coming to a place where it's all starting to make sense and where I'm starting to get like my groove back, like Stella. Okay. But yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like you can make your own rules, You can make your own rules. I think I've said everything. Mm, 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 mm. What else? Yeah, I think those are like all the mistakes that I made. Yeah. Don't make the mistakes I made, okay? Don't overconsume content. Don't do techniques and then look for evidence in the 3D. Um, don't don't waver, okay? Don't do that. If you got it, you got it. If you don't, then you don't. Pick a side, okay? Pick a side. Pick a side. Either you have it or you don't. Pick a side, okay? Another mistake I made was spending hundreds of dollars on coaches. Man, if I take a tally of the money I spent, I think I would be mad at myself. You don't have to do that. Affirm that you don't need nobody's help. You know what you're doing. Affirm that. You know what? I got this. I know how to affirm. I know how to manifest. It's easy. Manifesting anything is easy. Start there. When you decide what it is that you want to affirm, when you decide what it is that you want to manifest, I would say if I could go back, I would start by telling myself, oh, this is easy. This is easy. This is so easy. Manifesting this is it's just gonna be a breeze. And it ain't gonna take long, it's gonna be instant. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know that I could manifest that manifesting was just gonna be easy. I just jumped right into like, oh, I'm loved, I'm chosen, and they want me, and like start with affirming that whatever you want, you get it easily. You get it like that. And it don't take long. Okay. But don't waver. Like decide what it is that you want and stay there. Stand on that. Everybody's standing on business. Stand on what you want and stand on you getting what you want no matter what. Okay. And this is going to be the last thing. Did I just lose it? I think I just lost it. Hmm. What was I talking about? I was talking about all the money I spent on coaches. Hmm. I hate that I just forgot that quick. No, I remember. I always remember what I was going to say. Yeah, you want to not waver. You want to just affirm that you you always get what you want, that it's easy, that it's not going to take long. Um, yeah, you want to affirm that you always get what you want. And just stand on that, okay? Decide what you want and stand on it. Decide that it is yours, that it's yours no matter what. And yeah, do that. Saturate your mind with if you don't remember anything else I said, because I don't know how long this is going. I don't know how long it's been now. But you want to tell yourself, and this is what I'm learning today, okay? Today. You want to tell yourself that you have what it is that you want to manifest. Okay? You already have it. It's already yours. You already have it. And you want to saturate your mind with, if you use the Parrot app, if you just thinking over and over again that you have what it is that you want, just tell yourself that you already have it. You have it. You have it. Focus on that. Stand on that. You don't have to tell people what you're manifesting. You don't. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to tell people. You don't. Just decide what it is you want and decide that it's already yours. Stand on that. Okay. But you definitely got to pick a side. Don't get overwhelmed with everything that everybody else is doing. Don't overconsume a bunch of content. Just decide what you want, decide that is yours, and boom, it will be yours. Don't count the days, don't count the hours. Just focus on the story that you're telling yourself, and you will have it. Okay. Affirmations are just thoughts. So just continue to think in your mind that you already have what it is that you want to manifest, no matter what it is. There's nothing too big. Gaia says there's nothing too big, too expensive. Nothing. Nothing is beyond your ability to manifest. Trust yourself. That's what I'm learning to do. I'm learning to trust me because I've done this before. I've done it before. I manifested people. I've manifested meeting people. I've manifested cars. I've manifested money. Like I've manifested being on TV. I've manifested messages. I've manifested phone calls. Like I've manifested results. I have results. I can do this and you can do it too. Start affirming that you can do it. Start affirming that you got it. Start affirming that everything does what you say. Start affirming that people do what you say. Start affirming that it's easy for you. I would start there because I didn't know that I could start there. I didn't know. I had no idea. I started with self-concept and thinking that I had to do all this work on myself. And it's like, well, just affirm that it's yours. That's really all you got to do. I've affirmed before and didn't know. I I've manifested before without even knowing anything about subconcept. So you really don't need the perfect subconcept to manifest. You just affirm, just decide that what you want is yours and it will be yours, period. So those are the mistakes I made. I don't want you to make the same mistakes. Learn from my mistakes and everybody else's mistakes. Just make your own rules and have fun with this whole thing, okay? And I will see you again next time because I really don't remember what I was going to say. I don't, but if it comes back to me, I will make a video about it. All right. So enjoy the rest of your week.